It's true that there was a lot of vague stuff around Occupy Wall Street and their demands at the very beginning of Zuccotti Park. But one thing that was really amazing was the dilemma action, was the symbolism of the action. And most people that participate and the media judge your action based on the action scenario and the dilemma action. Okay? Were we successful in Seattle? I was giving that example. Yes, we were, because we created a scenario. We said that the symbolic demand was to shut down Seattle, and then we shut it down. Then the press said the protesters are successful because they actually did what they said they were going to do. When you do polarization, you might not even have even close to a majority. And a lot of these issues, even a lot of these issues that movements organize around, like their strategic demand, they don't have a majority. But they pick symbolic demands that move their agenda forward and move their strategic demands forward. And what really matters is whether or not we have committees that are committed in the workplace to move their co-workers to show up. And that's why when unions say we're going to get 2,000 people to show up, they generally do meet it, whether or not they have momentum or not. Our movement is dependent on momentum. How many people show up is based on a lot of times how much media coverage we have and the mechanisms that we have to distribute and hype up the action to create momentum.
We'll have an opportunity to have a big spotlight of the political media all over the world will be watching us. So we're capitalizing. We didn't create the mass movement. We didn't create Wall Street. We very strategically chose to spend this week focusing on these caucuses to shed light with the Wall Street concerns on the political process and the particular caucus process. So now, as near as I can tell, we're all familiar with this headline and this picture.
Yes.
This is exactly, we've already done our job. Because the Des Moines Register is asking the question, protesters' tactics put discourse at risk, question mark. That question mark saves the headline. Because the word we want to talk about is political discourse. It's there. And the photo is Newt being distracted from his talking points. And whose face is there? Mr. U.S. citizen saying, why aren't we talking about reality? Could not ask for better press and a better photo to say what we're doing. So, I mean, I'm hearing the mass movement thing, and I'm hearing that, but in this particular situation, we're feeding off of something that none of us created. I mean, I've been an anti-capitalist for years. Could never get a bounce. Talk about economic disparity, the problem of the poor. Never get a bounce. Now there's a space in the ethers up there that if you say that, people understand what you're talking about. And that's what I see what we're doing here this week.
And people are talking in our workplaces and in our community.
What we're dealing with is not necessarily an American problem, but it's global. And until we recognize exactly what the total problem is, rather than just maybe our little tiny perspective here in Des Moines, we don't have a way of seeing our way out of this forest. There are enough people who have capital acquisitions who are actually pulling the strings. And no matter what happens at our perspective down here on the ground level, until we approach a method that enables all of us to prosper, we're going to continue in this cycle of bust and bubble and bust and bubble. And I don't think our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren want to continue with this kind of a situation. Sent out a call to people from all over the United States to join us. Iowa, of course, is going to have the beginning. We're the starting gate for the presentation of the presidential candidates that we'll be voting on next year. And so Iowa has kind of a unique place in America for choosing who's going to be our presidential candidates. Mm-hmm. And we want to make a presentation to the rest of the United States on the issues that should be talked about. We are tired of our news media spending all their time talking about the horse race or superficial matters that really don't give us a good weight on who these people are. And so we want them to talk about the issues that are absolutely affecting us. Where are our jobs going to be? What kind of education system are we going to have? Are we going to have the financial regulations that keep us out of these constant bust and bubble cycles that we're currently in? Yeah, and are we actually going to pull back on our military spending? You know, we've got as much military spending as the rest of the world combined. Do we need that? I mean, those are kind of the issues and questions that need to be put forward, and we want the candidates to know that they need to talk about those issues that really matter to people.